Hey ho, hey ha ha, hoo, 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 ha! Happy birthday to us. You know, seriously, it's been 45 years, and I think I've been stocking the shelf for about 45 years. In fact, I should go back to the warehouse and stock the shelf just for old time's sake. But
I think for the sake of the guys back there, you shouldn't.
when did you when did you show up at the Palsbury's Liquor and Spice or Wines and Spirits?
1969.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's
1969.
well before the beginning of the club.
Well before the beginning of the club, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, your dad was one of my first customers my first job out of college, working for the Palsbury's News.
Oh yeah, that was quite a stimulating document, periodical.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was. They had some great writers on that.
They still have that?
Yeah, it's still around somewhere. I see it every now and then. You know.
Well, PV was a very tight knit community and very small, and my dad was never forgiven. I don't know if I haven't told you this, but it looks like I'm going to put in a very local diner here next door to next to the office, and it reminds me a lot of the counter at Dad's place, Pete Vigilato. And my dad said, not even recently in the last months when I talked to him about stuff, he said, PV never forgave me for getting rid of Pete Vigilato's counter at the liquor store.
Oh yeah, well that was an institution, and that thing had been there since what, the 30s or something. Yeah.
So
well,
he had never been sued. All the years that he bought and sold pharmacies, 12 at all, and blah blah blah. He had never been sued once, except that guy sued him for stealing his tomato sauce.
Well, why did he just give it back?
My dad comes home with two 5-gallon pails of tomato sauce. Here, honey. Whip up some pasta for
us. Oh, that's
funny.
All right, Fremont Cabernet, $25.99 on the shelf, $15.99 a reorder price.
I bought this because I thought it was really interesting because it was Santa Ynez. You don't get a lot of cab out of there.
Well, you're getting more now as they learn how to deal with their climate to make really great Cabernet, which this is.
I love it. Mm-hmm. It's got acid, it's got fruit, and that's the part of it. They typically were very acidic because it's not a great area for that. It doesn't have a lot of heat, so. Now this one though, he's got good balance in this.
Yeah, he's got very good balance on it,
and the oak finish, the oak
treatment. A little bit of oak, it's not overdone, but it doesn't. It's so funny because you used to be able to pick out those Central Coast Pinot Noirs or Cabernets because they had that vegetal component to them. No more, not a chance. But they're learning how to deal with the area.
You're right.
They're learning how to prune and get more sun exposure and et cetera, et cetera. And they actually get more bite out of the wine because they retain the natural acids in the wine, and that instead of adding it to it. So anyway, I'm doing a 95 on that. I think it's really.
I think it's great.
So
we gotta figure out who these people are. Sometimes we forget. All right, so
red.
Right. Wrong. Left.
Campofiorin from Masi.
Oh man.
Now let's go back a ways.
There's no way I was gonna be able to feature these ones.
I know. I was shocked when I saw it.
It's such an institution in the Italian wine imports and all very high priced wines. That $25.99 must be wrong. The retail.
It's about. I think it's regular retail is like $32 or something. And. These were the guys that basically invented the ripasso method, which I explained, at length in the articles. It's really, really interesting, because it was so interesting because what they were making Amarone. Amarone's a big deal, in Italy. It's been a big deal for, 100 years or so, where they dry the grapes on mats on top of the winery for 6 months. Now, how they do it in the middle of winter, I don't know. But anyhow, so they take these dried grapes, and then they crush them in the middle of the year. So they pick them like in October, and then they crush them in like May or April, all right? And then they throw what was left away, the must. Well, Masi came up with the idea, why throw it away? Let's take this year's wine and ferment it and then pass it through the must of the Amarone, the dried grapes, which add a lot of concentrated flavor. And they came up with this term called ripasso, which means pass-through. Pass-through. Passover is a different thing.
Sorry, that's wrong.
Wrong religion. Anyway, and they invented that thing, and now everybody's doing it. Everybody. It's ridiculous.
Well, I think ripasso, when you go to the Italian restaurant and you see not Brunello's, but you see Amarone's at $160 a bottle, and you see a ripasso, it's a great value.
Phenomenal
compared
value.
to
Absolutely phenomenal value.
Big Brother. But this, I didn't realize that's what this was.
they mess around with the blend now.
Because it is Veronese, so
Yeah,
this is from the area where Romeo and Juliet's setting is.
Two Gentlemen of Verona, yeah. And here's the problem. Well, it's not a problem. See, they can do whatever way they want, and they do. And this wine normally would be called Valpolicella Ripasso, but they don't use all three grapes. They use only Corvina and Rondinella. They don't use the Molinari because they don't like Molinari. They don't think it adds anything. So by law now they can't call it Valpolicella, and they don't care.
Yeah, right.
That's the beauty of
great.
it.
With a great expression of what it's supposed to be, and if you want to know what those kinds of wines, what the general character trend is, that this is a great example, and it's really well made.
$15.99. That's half price.
So you know that Verona is the setting of, right? You can go to the balcony,
right,
in Verona with it, and there's a statue of Juliet there. Did you know that?
No.
So if you Google that picture of the statue, you'll see that she's a bronze statue, and she's got this draped garment, if I remember right. But one of her breasts is exposed, and as you know that bronze patinas over time, except for the breast, because everybody's touching it.
What did it feel like?
It's really funny. You go there, and it's like all bright, shiny things. All right, so this is the Tempranillo Blanco. Okay, so this is why I bought this.
This is a new one. I never heard of it.
And I had the winery owner came in just a few weeks ago, actually, but we were a little behind on buying white wines for this club at this time. And boy, he walks in. I go, "What is this?" He goes, "Oh, it's Tempranillo Blanco." I go, "What?" I go, "No, I never heard of that." He goes, "Yeah, it's a white grape. It's Tempranillo DNA, and it's grown in Rioja." Along with this thing,
delicious.
And I thought, what an interesting wine. So I wanted to show this to you. It's $24.99 on the shelf, $13.99 for more, but a complete departure from just about anything we've tasted.
Well, it's very, very different. I have to say that. I mean, it's very different. You taste this in a blind tasting, you just throw your hands up and go, "I have no idea what this wine is." So, of course, when you hear it's Tempranillo Blanco and you've never tasted one before because you've never even heard of the grape.
So it's got a wonderful depth to it, right? It's got a lot of volume in the mouth.
It's a lovely
heavy.
nose. I mean,
And the nose is
it's
jumping
very, very different. It's so amazing. These are all made from grapes, and they can come up with so many different aromas and tastes and flavors that.
I'm getting a little like I don't know, apricot or.
Yeah, sort of, but it's not apricot. It's sort of like apricot, but.
Like a quince?
Quince, guava, it's got some exotic fruit components, but then there's something else in there that I've never gotten in a white wine, and I can't identify.
So listen to this. So we had a little gathering on Monday night, leftover blackberries and raspberries in a bowl. I said, I'm going to take my.
That is a delicious wine.
I'm going to take my daughter's recipe. I'm going to make some confiture. I'm going to make some jam. So I put in 1,000 grams of fruit, which is the base, then 60 grams of sugar and 5 grams of lemon juice. And then she tells me how to make this stuff because you don't use the recipes in the book. They're wrong. You boil it until when you drag the wooden spoon through, it wants to come with it. It wants to follow it.
Right.
And then you turn it off for 4 minutes and you time it. And if in 4 minutes it's formed a cover, like a little bit of a crust,
Yep.
then it's ready to bottle. If it's not, then you reboil it until it's ready.
Wow.
So while I'm doing this, though, I'm going, man, I'm smelling it going, I think a little tarragon in this thing.
I don't know about tarragon.
Cardamom, so I found the spices
yes.
and just sprinkled it and just added a little complexity without bringing it out. And it was so good.
I love cardamom.
Even a
Okay, $13.99. I'm giving this a 97 because I think it's probably the best Tempranillo Blanco I've ever had. And next,
speaking of my mother, since I'm going to send her a bottle, she turned 90 last week.
Oh yeah, your mother's amazing.
And she got up and gave a speech at a little dinner party that was like, "What? You're 90?" She had recalled her parents coming to America and how they got to Evanston, Illinois, and how they came to.
Well, both your parents are pretty amazing people.
Blanco Semi-Dolce. Okay, so I loved your description about Semi-Dolce in the newsletter, where you talked about the fact that dolce does mean the word sweet, but that's not the same level of sugar.
Right, exactly. And most people would drink this and say, "Oh, it's not sweet."
Right.
And there may be sugar in there, but so what? It's balanced with such great acidity, and it doesn't smell like Malvasía, which I'm surprised.
Okay, so that's what, again, the same winemaker as this, or same winery, or same importer anyway. But when I tasted this, I saw Semi-Dolce. I'm going, "Oh, I don't want a sweet wine." And then he tells me the process where the acid levels are so high when they start, right, that the sugar level is balanced, which it is, and you end up with this wonderfully it's like you always say, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
It's really interesting because Viura is kind of the workhorse grape of the Rioja. It accounts for most of the white wines that used to come out of the Rioja, and I've never been a big fan of it because unless they're older vines and they're cropped real heavily, so they don't produce a lot of grapes, they can be pretty thin and acidic. That's probably why they came up with this Tempranillo Blanco. Not they came up with it; it was there, and they started using it, and it's a far superior grape. But when it's properly blended with a very effusive grape like Malvasía, it's amazing. I mean, Malvasía by themselves are not that interesting. They're kind of
they're pretty.
They're kind of gewürzy, but in an off way, like musky, kind of musty. And now you put them together, and bang, like the whole's greater than some of its parts. $13.99.
Well, and I sort of said that the acid versus the sugar, not necessarily the two grapes together, but the I'm saying the whole is greater than some of its parts, and the fact that there's must be something with sugar in it here. One of the two grapes they didn't ferment all the way or whatever, and then one of them's drier. And they get a balance of both now.
Delicious,
the character.
Absolutely delicious wine. 97 for me.
I agree with you.
Really nice.
I agree. I agree with
These two whites.
I couldn't agree with you more completely, Ed. There you go. Hey, that's the limited series for our anniversary month of May. 45 years. Look for some more specials coming your way.
Oh, can't wait.